Namaste. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shal Gulhati, Shiva and Mysticism for another episode of Monday with Mahadev. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a very interesting prefix in English, which is re, R-E. This prefix makes many words, and I'm going to talk to you about five or six of them and show you the link with that and Shaivism. As some of you may know, on my page, I do online guidance sessions where people who want to learn about Shaivism take an appointment and we talk exclusively one to one. Many of these sessionists have asked me, why am I attracted to Mahadev? Why am I so fond of him? I can't explain it. And I try and tell them that it is very obvious to me that there is a certain play, a certain kind of pattern which Mahadev makes, which has a lot to do with this word re or the words which are made from it. Our spiritual journey usually begins with a reminder, with the word remind. We are born, we grow up, we go to college, we are doing our things in life, we get married, and then someone or something comes in to remind us that there is a deeper level of life which we have to delve in. And when this comes through a person, we call that the guide, the mentor, or the guru. So, remind. And what happens? What does he remind you of? He reminds you to remember. There is something you have forgotten and you need to remember that, he says. Oh, what have I forgotten? I'm wearing my clothes. I put my bank bills. I paid my electricity. What have I forgotten? No, says the guide, there is something deeper. You have to remember that. And then we start thinking, what is he trying to say? What do we have to remember? And he asks us to read some sacred books, find a mantra, understand some shlokas, some sacred texts, and we are also asked to repeat them. Om Namah Shivaya, not once but many times. Of course, mentally, trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita, not once but many times. Repeat. So, when we repeat something, it starts getting ingrained in us, like a record player, like a groove. So there is remind, remember, repeat, and then we start coming to a slightly higher word, which is recall. When we are repeating our spiritual mantra, when we are repeating the reading of our great masters like Swami Vivekanand, Paramhans Yoganand, Paramhans Ramakrishna, then we start slowly recalling something, and we start recalling our spiritual journey in a previous birth, and we start recalling not exactly that I was so and so in my previous birth, no, but we start recalling that we have had certain amount of spiritual knowledge. There is a remembrance of our Ishta, whether it is Lord Krishna, whether it is Shiva, whether it is Durga, whether we were a Buddhist. We start remembering that, and we realize that this is a rebirth of that same consciousness. And after recall, we come to a very important word of Kashmir Shaivism, which is recognize. Usually when we are speaking our English, we say, hi, I recognize you. But Kashmir Shaivism says it is recognize. To cognize means to understand something, to perceive it. And to recognize means to re-perceive the same thing which we may have known earlier. In this case, recognize means recognize your soul and your spiritual journey, which has been not only from one birth but timelessly since the universe began. And when we are done with recognize, we come to a slightly modern word, replay. It's like maybe a analogy of a video game can be given. When we buy a new game, in the beginning we don't know how to use it. We buy a new car, we don't know how to use it, but gradually we get used to it and we can replay it over and over again, and each time we get better. That's the idea, to get better and better on this journey of man and God, which is the spiritual journey. And then we come to another modern word, reboot. Ever since computers came, we realized that if there is too much problem in a computer, we need to reboot it. We do that with our phones as well, with our iPhones or Androids. If they are overloaded, we are told reboot them. And that is a term which we are beginning to understand in our lives. When there is too much of a particular load going on, when there is too much confusion, too much stress, too much tension, we are asked to be in solitude, in a quiet place, or maybe in a spa, or in the hills, or by the ocean, or by the people that we love, and we are asked to reboot. Take a break, to reboot. But when we have known the spiritual journey, and when we have recalled those hazy pasts of ours, that we have known this spiritual journey, we have known this knowledge, then the reboot is a very firm one of that, knowing that we are a soul who is on the journey to Mahadev. And with this spiritual reboot, we finally reinvent ourselves. And that is a word which is not only used by meditators, but by corporates, life coaches. I think it is used by sports coaches and everybody. We reinvent ourselves. And that is precisely what this whole life game of the universe is. We need to reinvent ourselves. So all these words, which are interestingly beginning with re, lead us to the fact that nothing is actually entirely new. It is a timeless thing. Even scientists who used to talk about the Big Bang theory, how the universe began, now say that the Big Bang was not the first Big Bang. Big Bangs have been happening repeatedly. So I hope you see the connect. When I tell the people who are having a Shiva conversation with me, in answer to their query, why are they so fond of Mahadev, as the case may be, when they are speaking with me, I tell them that this is not something new. This is a replay. You need to recall, you need to remember, you need to repeat, and therefore you need to reinvent yourselves. So I know this has been a lot of but we need to repair ourselves also of all this mundane malaise which we are being fed on a daily basis. We need to repair ourselves, we need to heal ourselves, we need to heal others, and we need to carry on happily, harmoniously, joyfully in this journey called life. I hope you liked these thoughts. Join me again next Monday, and I will be back with yet another Shiva wisdom for you. Om Namah Shivaya.